You're listening to the Young Buck Old Buck podcast, presented by Forest and Sky, sponsored by Chops & Co. Public Market.
There we go. Heads up.
Touch him up. Dead bird. Dead bird. Get it, Sky. Get it.
Good job, buddy. Keep flopping.
You're listening to the Young Buck Old Buck podcast. I'm your host, Young Buck Daniel DeForge, joined by my co-host, Old Buck, Mr. Bruce Smith.
Howdy, Daniel.
And Bruce, we got some special guests with us.
We do. This is a cool night.
This is a full room. We're down in Old Buck's basement here. We have some Christmas decor going on. We got the fire in the back. And we have a father-son duo, Rob Belson and Mitchell Belson. Guys, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
It's exciting. And so we're going to do what we call the outdoors update super quick. And then we're going to get in to this father-son duo, and we're going to talk just about their story. They have some hunting journeys that they've been on together. We're going to pick Rob's brain a little bit on what it's been like to be a dad and have a son who's into hunting along with him. We've had Mitchell on the podcast before. Mitchell has talked to us just about his hunt out in Nebraska. You've seen some content from Mitchell as well on Forest and Sky. And Mitchell, you killed a good buck this year here in Michigan, right?
Yeah, it was a very nice whitetail from Michigan. Hard to compare with the Nebraska, but you know, a buck is a buck. You know.
Yeah, and so we'll get to that story a little bit too. But first, just a little outdoors update. We're here. It's December 10th, the time of recording, and winter came fast this year. I kind of feel like Michigan was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make up for the past 10 years of the mild winters that we've had. And it's come with a vengeance.
Well, this is by far, we've been here. This is our fourth winter now here. And this is like 10 times worse than we've had in the 4 years we've been here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And Belsons, you guys are farmers. So do you typically follow like the Farmer's Almanac? Do you believe that that's accurate, or is it kind of like, yeah, you know, hit or miss? You know, what does that look like in your experience, Rob?
We do to some degree. A lot of it's just hearsay, obviously, but we hear people talk about it, and sometimes it's right, you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is just you prepare for the worst, and that's how it is, you know. And
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Exactly right.
Do we know? Did the Farmer's Almanac kind of predict this early start to the winter?
They were talking it could be a little bit rougher winter this year.
Okay.
Yeah, which we're pretty much due for it. And honestly, as farmers, we don't mind the extra snow.
Yeah.
It actually does the ground good. So
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, it has locked up the waterfowl spots pretty quick here. The wood ducks, they hightailed it out of here a month and a half ago. Like, they were gone. And, you know, big water starting to freeze. All the ponds, the cattle ponds and everything, those froze a long time ago. So really, it's just creeks and rivers right now. And it's been a battle because, man, you get out there and it's cold. And to try to play the long game is quite the challenge. I went out by myself this past week, and I set up on the river, did a nice decoy spread, finally got in a good spot. And I've been really wanting to get on some mallards because my wife and I were going to start doing this feather art stuff. And I really wanted some drakes. And, man, this group came in. They circled me twice. They saw the mojo spin, and I was calling to just doing everything right. They came right in and cupped down right in the hole that I wanted them in. And I stood up, boom, boom, boom. Didn't hit a duck. I mean, I think my barrel's bent, Bruce.
That was the phone call I got. I think the barrel's bent. Well, I've kind of heard that story before, but I have not picked on you too bad about missing again. So
Yeah.
we'll have to verify that.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's get into it. You guys, you had a recent trip out here to Nebraska, and how many years now has the Nebraska trip been a thing?
This is the third year that we went. Yep.
Third year. Okay. And so let's just walk the audience through. First, I keep hearing this story, Rob, where You guys, you get tags for Nebraska, and it's gun or bow, correct?
Yeah,
And it's muley or whitetail.
correct.
Okay. And so what do you typically bring with you to hunt when you go in Nebraska?
Well, I take my rifle, which is a 7mm. I might take my 450 for a backup. Obviously, Mitchell takes the bow because that's who he is. That's what he does. So even though I tried to discourage it from that, he's a true bow hunter. So
2 years gone by. He's unsuccessful so far, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful of getting me to
Yeah.
bring the gun.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. I mean, and you've offered backup guns like
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to be honest, he had to use my gun the first hunt. So.
Okay.
The first time I did, yep.
Yeah, you're going out there. Things are new.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have the opportunity. All right. So, who killed first this year in Nebraska?
This year was me, so first year he gave me first dibs.
Okay.
I'm super thankful for that. Second year, I happened to give him first dibs, and that's when he shot the monster. So that's just how it works, and all is good. But so I had first shot.
All right. So walk us through, Mitchell. Walk us through your hunt.
Yeah. So opening day, we got out there the night before. We didn't do any scouting the night before because we arrived literally at dark. But we had the spot that we were hoping for and kind of just more familiar with. And so we just thought, man, we've hunted that the last couple of years. We really know that terrain well. If we can get on there, hopefully we can get on a deer. So I think we had seen no whitetails really all morning, just a couple small mule deer bucks and a couple does. Nothing great. So just doing our thing out there. I mean, we walk, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes and then sit down on a hill and glass for a while. And usually that's when we start seeing them, is after we've been sitting for 15 minutes or so, looking behind us. That's how we've had success in the past, is you start going, then next thing you know, behind you, there they are. So
Mitch, take a second. Now, what's this terrain? You're sitting on a hillside. Now, what's the terrain like?
The terrain, I mean, it's all it's sand. It's the sand hills of Nebraska. There's sagebrush. It's grassy. I mean, it's cattle pasture too. So, but it's very hilly. I don't remember what the elevation is. Is it like?
Yeah, I think it was like 3,500.
Yeah.
37. So a lot of up and down.
Yeah, a lot of up and down hiking. So yeah, I think it was around 10 o'clock, maybe 11, that we saw what we thought was my whitetail. And so we just knew it was a good one. It was out of the corner of our eye. And so we start making our game plan. I think it was around 400, maybe 600. I mean, not super far, maybe 400 yards. And we work our way into 200. That's where you stop up on the hill. And we were pretty sure down through the valley, up over the other side, that's where he was. So we made our game plan. Had good winds in our favor. I get down into the low spot, Dad kicks back, and I took my boots off right there, which
What's the temp?
It's cover scent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe that was a mistake, but the temperature 40s, 45. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, nothing crazy. I just felt like, man, these boots are so quiet against this grass, so I'm taking them off. I know I can walk quieter in my socks. So that was part of the strategy. Get up to that top of the hill and kind of guessing where he's at, knowing he's over there, I think, but not exactly sure where at on the other side. So just taking my time, get over the top, and there he is. Except it's not the buck I don't think the buck that we saw at first, and it's nicer. And at that point, I'm like 80 yards.
Okay. So now, do you see this deer, Rob, from where you're at?
I saw it earlier, but where I was at on the hill, I could not see it completely, and so I was trying to stay low. I was wanting to get it on video on my phone,
Yeah.
but he was waiting so long I didn't know when or not to take a video. But
Sure.
yeah, I was trying to stay up high, so if he busted, I could tell where he went to.
And were you also kind of ready with your gun?
I was, yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, that was the joke. Was I'm bringing the bow. He's got the rifle. So as soon as I get into just about bow range, he's gonna
I'm gonna shoot him.
No. So yeah, the way it was set up for me, I'm looking back like, how can he not see this deer? It's like great, but just the way the terrain was. So 80 yards. I've got some just I don't know what are you those green bushes? Just like sagebrush, I guess.
Kind of like that, just brushy stuff. But
So I'm just kind of trying to keep that in between me and the buck, and that buck is bedded down, kind of angled away from me, looking away, which was perfect. So I crawl on my hands and knees, belly crawl really, and just slowly work my way down to the last brush that I had in between me and that deer. So I'm ranging. I ranged him like 3 or 4 times, came up with 62 yards every time. So I set my dial on my sights at 62 yards and waited like 15 minutes, felt like an hour, heart's racing and all that. So that buck finally, and the cool thing too is I'm just nervous as all get out, excited. I just kind of took a time to pray that I can have just the wisdom to handle the situation, but also to be able to make a good shot if the chance comes. And I remember opening my eyes, looking up, and that buck was standing up, and I'm like, it's go time. And so just kind of, again, just trying not to rush it, because I think that's one of my struggles. But he looks away from me, and I drew back right then. And this whole time, I'm just trying not to make sure. I had a chance earlier in Michigan on a buck to shoot, and he was looking right at me as I shot, and my arrow, he ducked. My arrow went right over. I did not want that to happen. This deer had no idea I was there, wasn't looking. I felt steady on him, pulled the trigger, saw it, and heard it hit hard, and he took off over the hill. And
when that deer took off, did you see him take off?
I did, and I actually, even the distance I heard it hit him.
Oh, wow.
It was that loud. And yeah, I probably saw it better than he did. I could see him. I thought he looked like he was hit pretty good, but I could hear it, and he went around the hill.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes around the hill, and I go up over chasing after him just to see this where we're hunting. The blood just dries right into the sand. It's like impossible.
And it's red.
Yeah, and it's the grass out there has got some reddish tint. It's like impossible to blood trail these things.
Wow.
So once they get over the hill, it all looks the same. So what happened, I go over and he sees another buck, which we thought was the one I shot, hightail it up a hill. And so we kind of got off track a little bit going after that one, thinking that's the buck.
Because it was chasing that doe that was with the buck earlier.
Yep.
And it was probably the first buck we saw.
It was
still
probably,
a really good one.
So we kind of go after that, and it's not looking super great at the time. I'm getting nervous, and I felt like height-wise, the arrow was perfect. The only thing I was afraid of was a shoulder shot. So we go back to where I shot. We just want to find the arrow. Hopefully it made a clean pass and see what kind of blood's on it. So yep, we found the arrow. So that made me feel great. I'm like, okay, great, missed the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be my question at 62. Did you get a pass through?
I did. It was literally right couple yards past where he was standing. So I felt really good. Arrow was tipped to fletching, covered in blood. So that made me feel good. And then Dad just felt like that deer was hit and moving pretty slow. That can't be the deer that just made it up that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of explain, because he's the one that walked up on it.
Yeah, that buck we saw completely faked us at first, because he went around a hill, the one he shot, and then all of a sudden we see a doe go up a hill, and then I see this other one go halfway up a hill. It turned around, looked back, and then it stopped for a second, and then it took off running up a hill. And I'm like, man, that thing doesn't look hurt, you know? And so we kept going that path and looking, and I just had this feeling that, you know what, that there might have been a second buck there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went back, and you always go back to where you first found your blood. And so that's what I started doing, walking back to there, trying to go back and go backwards. And in the hills, you want to be on the opposite hill. So you're looking back on the hill that you last saw him on.
Okay.
So you want to crisscross when you're tracking, go on the opposite side so you have a good view of the other hill.
Yeah.
And then if you don't see anything there, you go on that side and you look backwards.
Huh.
And so as we were doing that, I was looking down and there he was, and I was like ecstatic.
Yeah.
I was yelling, bitch, you know. And
Yeah, and I was still kind of over where that first buck we saw was, and all of a sudden when I heard my name, I knew it. You
Yeah.
know, I've heard that that tone in his voice yelling my name before. I knew that there's a dead buck over there, so I'm hightailing it over there running.
Yeah.
As soon as I see it's down, he's staying over. I'm pretty sure I jumped into your arms.
oh, we did. We were. It was a doozy. It's
Yeah.
a really good buck.
Did you give it much time to lay, or did you get after it pretty quick?
I mean, we pretty much went right after it, but by the time we had found it, it'd probably been maybe 15, 20 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, when you think it's a buck that's running up the hill, you want to try to get up that hill so you could see.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get to the top of it, you can see where it went.
Yeah.
You know, and if it was injured, because like I said, it is hard to track. I mean, you would think you could see the tracks in the sand, but you cannot, because it's hard enough and it's covered in grass. And the last few years, if there's one thing we've learned, it is really, really hard to track. It's different than Michigan.
Yeah. And so, Mitchell, explain just the process of approaching the deer and just realizing what it is you harvested in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, like now, my words were just didn't know what to say, but I was just so thankful for that opportunity. Thankful for Dad and helping me in that whole hunt, but just I think I just kind of had a moment of silence, and I remember hitting my knees and just thanking God for that moment. That was just such an insane. That was really my first really nice whitetail deer, and to do it with the bow, my dream again. You know, just thankful.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to convey. You know, people that listen that have experienced it, they understand exactly what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
It's really hard to convey that experience. You know, when you're walking up to a kill like that, it's super emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and the craziest thing though is, you know, we talked about my broadhead or my whole arrow passing through. We get up to that deer, I hit him square in the shoulder, and we flip him over. It passed through the other shoulder too. So I had a clean pass through both shoulders, which is a bow hunter's nightmare, but it
No
worked
kidding.
great.
Yeah. At 60 yards, and his broadhead wasn't even broke.
No, I mean, that arrow I could put back in my quiver and hunt with it. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
That's a blessed arrow right there.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Without question.
So it's not always about score, but I mean, tell the audience you measured it. What did it come out to?
Yeah, I mean, we measured it right around that 159, 160. So, I mean, again, the trophy is the deer. I was just ecstatic, whether it was a 140 or a 200. I mean, the deer was a trophy. The hunt was the trophy, but that was just kind of pretty cool too, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was your biggest whitetail to date. Now, Nebraska, you can shoot a muley or a whitetail.
Yep.
When you're going out there, Mitchell, what are you kind of hoping for?
That's the funniest thing about this hunt is we're on our way out there. I'm like, man, I want the muley. Like, we don't get this chance very often to be hunting an animal that's not in Michigan. So if I get a chance, I want the muley.
Okay.
And my dad was the opposite. He was.
You wanted the whitetail.
Yeah.
I did. I'd got 2 other muleys, and I thought it'd be neat to have a good, Nebraska whitetail.
Yeah.
So I had that in my mind anyway.
All right.
Yep.
So at the end of the hunt, I ended up with the whitetail, and this, that thing is. I wasn't gonna pass that up, like that. Yeah, I mean, anything that was a shooter didn't matter to me, but I had a little bit of hope, but I would not do it different now. So then Dad ends up with the muley though. So
All right, and let's hear about that, Rob.
Yeah. That's next day I hunted through there, and I'd seen some nice whitetail, and had a shot at one, and it didn't work out, and then. So it was the next day, wasn't it?
yeah, it was the next day.
We went out, and we just doing the same thing. We're walking up the hills. We'd sit at the top. We'd glass for a while. We saw a decent one, and and you saw a really good one before. I wasn't with you. That was a really, really nice whitetail. Unfortunately, we were spread out, and he saw it, and I wasn't near it, and so we were kind of trying to go after that a little bit, and we saw another one that was probably, I don't know, a quarter mile away, 400 yards or so.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a ways anyway. And so we were kind of trying to play the wind on that, and so we would go up a hill, and we were just sitting there again, and I know it was about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was all of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
we sat and it was pretty dead, pretty quiet,
Yeah,
not seeing
nothing.
anything.
And all of a sudden, Mitchell goes, "Dad, other side." And we look behind us again, and here's this really nice mule deer going behind us, and he's headed towards the hills. So we ended up hightailing it over to the hill. And so we got up the hill, the top of it, and we're looking. And I didn't see it. And Mitchell's like, "Dad, there he is."
That was the like funniest but almost stressful for me
Yeah.
because I see this thing and he's probably 100 yards away
Yeah.
from us. And I'm like, "Dad, right there.
Yeah.
Dad, please. He's right there. Please see him." Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's looking at us to this deer. And I'm like, he's about to hightail it out, please, Finally, I think he takes off running before
He
you
did.
see him.
He did. I saw him when he started to run.
Yeah.
And with the mule deer, it's a little different. A lot of times they will run to the biggest hill and they'll stop, and then they'll survey if they feel like they're at a safe distance. They'll turn. So he's running up the hill, and I'm preparing because we've seen him do this, quite a few times where
Yeah.
they'll feel like they're at a safe distance. So he did. He got to about 140 yards or so. And the thing that's cool about that is that morning I sighted my gun in again just to make sure at 100 and literally 140 yards. So, right on the bullseye. And so that was pretty cool. I think I adjusted it a couple times just to do it. But I took a couple, just, you want to do that,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, he dropped at that 140 right there. And so I just was ready to shoot, and I shot, and I knew I hit him because you seen him buck.
Mm-hmm.
But then I tell Mitchell, "Go!" He's a lot
Literally,
faster than that's
yeah.
why it's the young buck. So the old buck here, you go get him. So,
Literally, though, I mean, we talked about how hard it is to find these deer on a blood trail. So knowing that, I'm like, I'm not letting this thing get out.
Yeah.
I think about the time you said go, I was already in the running position. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see this thing where it goes.
Were you trying to catch your breath even from getting to that hill to the point
Yeah.
of the shot a little bit? I mean, it's
It
physical
was.
terrain.
it is.
And did you have like a bipod or anything? Or?
Yeah, I have a bipod on my gun.
Okay, so able to get a little stability there.
Yep, you drop down and it's all set, and
Yeah.
it was ready to go. So
It's just remarkable to me. I mean, having an arrow pass through two shoulders on a 60-yard shot,
mhm.
and then sighting your gun in at 140, and then that is the shot
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
It's just,
it is amazing.
you can't make this stuff up. Like
you can't. You can't.
So all right. So walk us through. So Mitchell, you take off running, and then what happens?
Yeah, I get over that first hill, and I think there was just a small one after that, and there he is. I mean, he didn't go 30 yards.
Wow.
So
Which they shouldn't with the 7mm.
yeah, I mean, in years past,
Yeah.
they've pretty much dropped
Right.
after that first or second shot there. So
Yeah.
So you kind of mark the deer, and then Dad's coming from behind
Yep.
and
Yep.
celebrating a little bit.
Yeah,
and-
we celebrated.
So I had, I don't know how much my pack weighs, but probably a 30, 40 pound pack at least.
Yeah.
And I had that on. It was buckled on. And so I ran with that. And so I'm kind of coming back up the hill, back towards Dad. And I'm like, he's here.
Little spent.
I'm like, hands on the knees, like, yep, go get him.
Yeah.
He's right there. But
Yeah, his training regimen is a little different than mine before the hunt. So
No kidding.
But
What is so where does this muley fall on a scale of muleys that you've shot in the past?
well, he's the third biggest I've shot out of 3. So
Okay.
he's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm very, he's a trophy. I'm gonna have him mounted.
Yeah.
And he is a very nice symmetrical. He will look really nice. But
That's awesome.
He's not up to the one I shot last year, but you can't always do that. So
Yep.
So how do Nebraska muleys rank in, because they vary a lot through the
Right.
West. Where, I mean, do they fall into like mid-range trophy?
yeah,
I don't think they get giants.
The one I got last year he's probably in the 180 class, so
That qualifies.
He's really really big necked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's quite as the norm. I think they're usually a little bit bigger out west when you get into the states, like Colorado. And
Yeah,
some of them.
Colorado gets some real
But
giants.
they're surprisingly, where we're at. It's not a long ways away, but yeah, we've seen some nice ones,
Yeah.
there, and even we were surprised even where we take the deer to get them processed. There's usually some really nice ones. There's some really nice whitetail too. So
Yeah, I know they've got some dandy whitetails. I have another friend that has been going out there for years.
It's so diverse because they have elk, believe it or not, out there, and we've seen elk when we've taken ours, and not very many.
Group of antelope.
Antelope are over there, so it's really really pretty neat to see the diversity. And another thing that's pretty cool is even during the hunt when Mitchell was taking his deer in, I was hunting by myself, and I saw the other deer that we thought was the one he was going to go after, and he was out with a doe, and he was about 100 yards away, and I thought, I don't know if this is the one I want. So I watched him, and this coyote came running, and I've got it on video where he came running up to the whitetail and was just literally harassing him and the doe the whole time. And I'm watching this, and it's like, wow, this is unbelievable.
Huh.
So that was really neat.
Very cool experience.
But the buck chased the coyote off after about 10 minutes, 15, and the thing ran right behind me. And so that was a pretty neat experience too. So
Yeah, that's super cool. How does it work? Because you mentioned you guys had it processed out there. How does that work? As you're traveling and doing a hunt, like walk us through that.
yeah, we're fortunate. The place where we go, that would be Valentine. We take it into there, and they're really friendly with working. They will do the caping, and then they'll process it, and usually they'll have it done within a day and a half to 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they expedite it for us since we're out of state. We tell them that, and it's crazy. I mean, to cape it, and they have to get all brain matter. You can't take
Yeah.
that across state
Right.
lines.
Yep.
So we like that. I mean, we've only got limited time out there,
Right.
and I want to be right back out hunting with Dad again, like when I shot mine.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to spend all day
Field dressing.
yeah,
Yeah. Or butchering or
Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
quartering it down, getting it ready to go, getting it in a cooler. I mean, it
Right.
was fairly warm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was warm.
How was it getting the animal out? I mean, were you guys able to get vehicles to them, or did you have to drag a while? Like
Yeah.
what was that?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the guy that ranches the property there, he's out there with side by sides for checking on his cows and stuff. So we usually have to get up to a higher spot to get service to contact him, but then he'll come out and he'll
Oh,
get it back with, and that's a
nice.
lifesaver.
Yeah, to not have to drag those.
Mark it on your phone too
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
apps that you have on your phone. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how we tell where the boundaries are that we can hunt. You can't hunt, and then you can mark it through your app that you have.
So this is a private ranch you guys are on, not a walk-in area.
And ranch by cattle ranch. It's not high fence, nothing
No.
like
No,
that.
cattle,
But
no cattle ranch. No.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I hunted Arizona for a few years, long time ago, and that's how it was. You go through a gate, and you could hunt just about anywhere.
That's exactly right. It's you're not guided at all. You just know where the boundaries are, and
Yeah.
you hunt that area, and you walk it, and it's neat. We've been able to do it the last few years, so we kind of have a better idea because it's a lot of acres. I mean, you're hiking. What do we figure? 14.
We're about 14 miles a day. Yeah.
So it's quite a bit of walking
Yep, that's not a
up and down.
that's not a couch to tree stand
No.
journey.
And in fact, when they came to pick up his deer, that's what we told him. We said, we only shot this deer so that you could get us out of this because we ride back on the side by side with him.
Yeah, we was out a long ways.
That's a great exit strategy.
Yeah, it
right?
was the best exit strategy.
Boys, we're
we
not
had.
leaving until we shoot something because I ain't walking back to the truck.
No problem with that one at all.
Well, we messed up to begin with because we went out and we got out thinking the winds were going to be out of the, I don't know, west.
They were supposed to be out of the west, yeah.
And we get there and they're actually out of the east, so we're on the wrong side of a long ways.
Yeah.
So we ended up walking down the hill, I don't know, several miles, and then hunted back with the wind. So
Yeah.
the guys saw our truck over there and he says, "Why are you over here?" Well, we messed up with the wind. So
Let's kind of get to a little bit of the heart of what I see happening here, because this is this one hits really close for me, is hunting with your dad. Okay. Just get a little backstory to how your dad got you involved in hunting, at what age and doing what.
Yeah, I mean, since I was born, dad's been a hunter. I mean, ever since I've been around, and always drug us out to the deer stand, and that that was it. I mean, just being out there was fun. Dad and I have always had a close relationship outside of hunting too. Um, Four-wheelers, antique tractors, you name it. Always done stuff together, but hunting was something that we both had a passion for. And not I didn't have that at a young age, but older I got, the more I developed that. But yeah, I just getting out in the stand, these memories of me shooting my first buck and him shooting some of his and the tracking and all that. I mean, you can't not grow close in those times, it seems like.
Yeah, they're my best memories. Just from when I was going out early, when I was really liking it, getting a bow, and I'd shoot a deer and I'd find it, and then I would go back and I'd get the kids, and I knew where it was and everything, but I wanted them to track it with me, especially something about the night hunts. They're just cool, and so it's something I loved, and just being out in nature with the Lord is just something. Heavens declare the glory of God. And
Amen.
and when you see that and you see the handiwork of His hands, every time I'm out there, I just love it, and I wanted my kids to love it too, and it's my daughters too. They've hunted, Stephanie, one of them, and my other son just shot his first deer this year too with Mitchell, so that's pretty exciting. That's really cool about that for his buck. But yeah, just getting them out there, they track them with me. That was pretty cool. When Mitchell was first time, he wasn't even. Did you take your BB gun out, baby?
Yeah, I used to go out and I decided like this time I want to hunt my own stand.
Yep.
I want to take a gun and all this. So I'm like sitting out there with a BB gun just to sit,
That's
But
great.
He'd sit his own stand, I'd be in a little ways away, and yeah. So we'd walk back and pick him up, and we'd walk out together. And I've got some pictures of him climbing down the stand with the full moon in the background, and he's climbing down, and it's just like you said, it's those memories, that we'll cherish, something we both enjoy doing together. It's whatever it is, it's duck hunting, but we love the deer hunting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The aspect of it, but just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I was blessed to hunt with my dad till he was 80.
Wow, that's really cool.
And he taught me most everything I knew, starting with squirrel hunting. As soon as I was old enough to walk in his footsteps, and
Yep.
I just, it just really warms my heart to know that you guys are experiencing all this together.
Yeah, I got to my oldest son too. I've got to take some real cool trips with him. I was able to take with my really good friends from Germany. We went on an elk hunt, and then with my oldest son, Michael, we did caribou hunt, and then we've got to do this hunt with Mitchell, and
Where did you caribou hunt?
we were up it's about as far north in Canada as you could, in a place called Schefflerville, and we took float planes. We did the beaver and the otter and all that stuff. We were way out there, and we actually got stranded for probably a week because the plane that took us in there got called away to rescue some other people that got stranded. And on their way out, they had to land on a lake for 4 days because the weather was so bad. And so they didn't come into ours for quite a while. But that was back when you could take 2 caribou, believe it or not. And so we both were fortunate to take 2, but it was quite an adventure.
Rob was telling me the story a couple months ago, because I had the privilege of seeing the different trophies and hear some of the stories. And you were talking about that, of how you had the wife and kids at home. You're with your one son on this hunting trip. It was supposed to be pretty much 1 week long, correct? And then you get stranded for another week, and you're having to try to, back in the day, communicating was a little more of a challenge. So you had to try to get a satellite phone to be able to call home. And I was I was joking with my wife because I'm like, man, I'm telling you, if I was only supposed to be gone on a hunting trip for 1 week and I get stranded for a whole nother week and it's another week with the wife with the kids back at home, I'm making the guide make the phone call because I don't want to hear what's coming back.
It's ringing. You're talking.
Yeah, you ask
You
her.
can explain.
I'm sure you got stranded.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
man.
a chance.
So, and maybe I'm off on this, but I get a little bit of a sense. Probably out of all your kids, Mitchell has probably shown the most passion and time and energy put in to the outdoors and into hunting specifically. Walk us through like watching him grow up. When was kind of a moment that you were like, man, he's really going to go after this and this is really going to become his thing?
Probably, honestly, if I'm going to be honest, probably the last couple of years when he really decided this bow hunting is it. And even this year, he took it to a new level.
Yeah.
You know, last year when he said, I'm going to do, he's proven me wrong, and I think he enjoys doing that.
No, never.
Well,
but, you know, it's like,
it's not really.
yeah. And I get that. That's really cool. You know, if the son wants to, I was that with my dad. You always want to make him proud, you know, and show him that, hey, I can do this, you know. And so when he did that, took it out, even though it was like, you sure you want to do that, Mitchell? You know, we only get one chance, you know. And he did. He came through on it. And then seeing him practice, you know, at these distances, you know, 60-yard shot, and he put it right there.
Yeah.
And that just is like, wow, that's new level, you know. But I knew when he was going out in the mornings early and getting up and that tells you a lot, you know, and just wanting to be out there with me, and that's really cool, you know. That makes a father feel really, really good, and that's all I've ever wanted, you know. What my kids do, I want to be a part of it, whether it was basketball, any kind of sport, and the girls the same way. I just want to be involved with it and share with them in those moments, because you don't get them back.
Yeah.
You know, and so whatever they want to be a part of, and luckily with Mitchell, it's hunting, you know, and with him on the farm too, you know, it's just we enjoy the same things, and it's so much better to do these things with someone.
Amen.
You know, just even if we're not hunting in the same stand, when he's at the other side of the farm or even at a different place, we're texting, you know, and when we get to track a deer together, you know, that is just to share that with someone is extra special. Yeah.
Well, and that's a big part of Bruce and I's relationship, and super thankful for that. And, you know, one of the things I'm curious about, Mitchell, when you think of, let's talk specifically hunting for a minute, the number one lesson that you've learned from your dad when it comes to the outdoors and hunting?
Persistency or consistency or whatever. Probably persistent. I mean, Dad, when he goes after it, he goes after it. I mean, and it pays off. I mean, he shot a deer this year in Michigan, and if it wasn't for persistency, never would have found it. I mean, time after time again, and not just that, but usually the time I'm getting cold and getting ready to go in, he's like out there another 2 hours or so, and that's taught me a lot. I mean, you gotta put the time in.
Yeah. I think you could say that persistence leads to consistent.
Yeah.
You know, it really does.
Yep.
You have to do one to have the other.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I love that. And Rob, I'll ask you the same question, because I think older guys can learn from younger guys. I mean, what is something that you've learned from Mitchell over the years?
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a technology type of guy.
Yeah.
And even the apps that he gets, you know, some of the clothing, the updated, I mean, he laughs at my bow. Okay, he does.
We may have had this conversation last night.
Yeah, we did. Because I still have my old bow, you know. And,
1980s PSE.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just like this better. It feels better. But then I see the things that he's doing with the new advanced stuff, and it's like, okay, maybe I do want that. So I bought my first, I don't know if I can say it, Sitka outfit out of all this stuff, you know, just because he's been getting into some of the advanced clothing and stuff like that, you know. It's like, doggone it. You know, so
Sucked him down that rabbit hole.
he did, you know. So but anyway, so I've been, you know, he teaches me a lot of that, and a lot of good stuff that's out there that you can use, and
Yeah.
advice and new tactics maybe that sometimes maybe us older bucks, I guess you would say, or mature, we should say, right?
That's how I would prefer.
Yeah,
it.
or my wife would probably say immature, but anyway, they, we get set in our ways sometimes, and it's the only way to do it. And so, yeah, just some new strategies and up to date even on the hunting things, where we could go, places like that. So, yeah, it's. And he's got that energy too, if we're going to be truthful, he packed a lot more than I did. So that was nice too on the hunt, hey bitch, my coat's getting a little heavy. Can you put it in your duffel bag? And so that's not a bad thing.
That's where I was telling you, got to get a little bit nicer clothing next time.
Yeah,
so I'm
so
going to
it's
pack all this.
Yeah, that's a trend because old Buck over here too, man. He brings a suitcase into the woods.
I put my clothes in the pack when I walk in.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a great story about that. I walk in as light as I can.
Yeah.
I'd rather carry a little bit more in my pack and not get sweaty. So,
Mhm.
and then if I'm going to hunker in, and then I'll get dressed and be nice and comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
All right, well, we're gonna play a little game here. I want to just test some knowledge here. How well you guys really do know each other when it comes to the outdoors and hunting. Rob, do you know what Mitch's current bow is?
It's a Matthews. That's all I know. I don't know the number.
Okay. Does he know about the recent purchase?
I had
He
to tell
told
him
me.
today because I figured
just told me.
Today?
I didn't buy it today, but I told him today.
You told him today.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Let's
what
see.
is wrong with you?
I think I've known about for like a week maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Daniel, but well,
He's a
maybe.
bad
influence.
Yeah, he told me
he
you got
got
one
heat.
too, right? It's
He,
like,
he
oh, you
got
gotta be
heat.
kidding
He
me.
got heat. Believe me.
Oh man. Yep. Mitchell and I, we took the leap into the Matthews arc. Yep. Yeah. So yes, you shoot Matthews arc. You already mentioned, your dad shoots a what?
I don't know. It's dinosaur PSE.
A dinosaur.
Do you know the specific make and model of the PSE?
No, I don't.
I could upgrade you. I've got an MQ2, a Matthews
Yeah.
MQ2 that's
Yeah.
probably 25 years old.
Do you really? Okay. Well, he keeps trying to get me to get his old stuff so that he can get the newer one.
That's
so-
right.
Well, I know how they, I
Sure
know
you
how
don't
they
want
roll.
this, Dad? I can
I know
set
how
it
they
up
roll.
for- yeah.
I offered him $300 in an old antique 22 for his lift.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that wasn't flying.
it didn't fly.
No.
Uh,
All right, Mitchell, if you were to say what your dad's dream hunt would be, what would you say?
Moose hunt.
Rob, is that true?
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That is true.
All right. What about what's Mitchell's dream hunt?
That's no doubt it's an elk hunt.
100%.
Okay. Method. Is it, hiking, horseback, ATV? What do you think?
For me or for him to answer?
You can answer it. Go ahead.
I think for me, there's a little bit of a calling to do as rugged as possible. And probably that's from your elk hunt story.
Mhm.
Drive as far as you can, get there, horseback as far out, even farther out, and then do it yourself, shoot them, pack them out on the horses, as rugged away from society as possible.
Yeah. That's cool. Mitchell, what would you say, or what do you think your dad would say has been his most meaningful harvest?
There's two, because I know the buck we call King is a really good buck. That was that's probably the one we talk about the most, and the one I look up to probably the most. I don't know why I think that 6-point has a lot of meaning to you, because it was a really untypical 6-point, and I know that has meaning because that was right after he dissected his artery years back, and he was just dying to get out into the woods, and that night happened to shoot it. So I know that one was a big meaning. I don't know. I'm a little bit stumped on that.
Is he close?
No.
Really?
All right. Good.
No.
Well, let's hear it. What-
Honestly,
nice
for
try,
me,
though.
for me, it's the 3 that I shot with the kids.
Okay.
I did love the elk with my friend from Germany, but then that would be one. But it would be the one that Mitchell shot this year. that I will never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But your harvest is what we're talking
for
about.
my harvest,
Yeah,
it's
your harvest.
still the ones that last year's muley would probably be right up there, and then the caribou with my other son,
Okay. Yeah.
because he got that one on video, and so it's pretty neat because we got the caribou coming up. He actually scratched the back of his leg with his rack, and so we got the whole thing, and I got the shot. It dropped right there, and so that
Yeah.
was pretty neat too. But yeah, every one I would say is when I was with a family member, a friend, with my kids. So
No, that's awesome.
you know,
What would you say if you had to guess what Mitchell's most meaningful harvest would be? What would it be?
I would say it's the one he shot this year, just because of the circumstances of everything. I mean, it's just such a cool story to shoot one at 60 yards, to be able to find it. I mean, it's kind of like a crazy thing, because it's during rifle season that he did this. You know, no, everybody else, we're all hunting with rifles, and it's like, you're not going to be able to do that. You know, why are you doing that? And then he does it. So, you know, so
There's nothing wrong with being a purist, man.
yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
It'd have to be. I mean, there's no doubt.
Very cool. Old Buck, do you have any trivia questions over here?
Not really trivia. I'm just soaking in the idea that you guys are getting to do all this together, and in my mind, all the cool things that I did with my dad. You know, I'm thinking back to a couple of kills that I was with my dad. You know, I dropped him, that big 10 that's in the barn. I dropped him at a spot, and I didn't walk 100 yards, and he shot, and I hear him, yes, and I hoof him back there, and nice 10. Nice 10 laying there. I was like, I had to drag it out after a tornado in northern Michigan along the straits at Wilderness Park. Yeah, that was miserable. I said, "You ever do that to me again, I won't go hunting with you." But I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, Dad. You know I didn't. But you know, just great memories like that. Build on them, cherish them, because man, the time goes by fast.
Yeah.
And Rob, I mean, I guess I have two questions for you as we kind of wrap up this segment. One, I mean, I've been in the trophy room. I've seen it. Like it's cool. It's awesome. Is there any goals that are still just knocking on your door?
Yeah, there's. I really would like to do a moose hunt.
Okay, so that is like
that
dream
is-
hunt. We want to get
Yeah.
that achieved.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. If you line up a moose hunt,
Yeah.
and you go with Mitchell,
Mhm.
and Mitchell wants to bring his bow, are you going to let him go?
I have to let him go. You know, you don't. At this point, he's proven himself, and not only that, but like he says, a purist. If that's his heart's desire, and that's what the Lord's placed in me to do, then I'm all for it. You know?
Okay, all right.
But I'm taking the first shot.
You're gonna back him up with it. You're gonna back the rifle up with your bow. Okay,
Just have to extend that range a little more, crank a little more pound, but yeah.
crank it up a little bit.
The arc will do it, man. The arc will do it. That's good. And you know, probably the next chapter for you. I mean, you got years probably until this happens, but man, you're getting ready to see grandkids possibly enter.
I know. I
this.
cannot wait.
And that's going to be special. If we're still doing this podcast in 10 years, mark my words, we're going to do a 3-generation
That would be neat.
episode here, because that'd be really fun. But cool. Bruce, do you have anything before we transition?
No.
All right. Well,
No.
hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Chops & Co. Public Market. Chops & Co. specializes in locally grown, responsibly raised, high-quality pork products, direct from their farm to your table. Located in Jones, Michigan, give them a call at 269-244-1999.
All right, and we're back, and we're going to transition just a little bit here. You know, obviously hunting is important. We love it. We have a passion. But one of the things I'm thankful for is all of us up here have a greater love than the outdoors, and that's the Lord Christ Jesus. And, you know, I want to just pick your brain a little bit, Rob, in the sense of, you know, we talked about some lessons that, you know, Mitchell's learned from you, and you've even learned from Mitchell down the road. But, you know, as we talk about this idea of discipleship, mentorship, and just how that is really crucial and important, and it starts with the opportunity of a father mentoring and discipling his kids. And something we were talking about in the break really quick was just uh, your dad and his role in your life. And so just talk to us a little bit, just about what did that look like? What are some of the crucial faith lessons that your dad instilled in you, then you wanted to then turn around and instill that in your kids?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, like I was talking at the break, my dad, he hunted with me some. He was never really a hunter. He's a hardworking farmer, and he taught me those lessons about working hard with your hands. And not only that, but even in the Bible it talks about enjoying the work of your hands. God wants us to do that. And so that was one thing I always saw in his, whatever he did, he did it as hard as he could. He did it for the glory of God. He was hardworking and he enjoyed it. And not only that, but he enjoyed spending time with me and us as kids. Whatever event I was involved with, he was supporting me 100%, whether it was sports, you name it, school, whatever. And then when I started picking up hunting, he took me out a couple of times, but like I said, it wasn't never his first love or his passion. But because I liked it, he would do it. And he would support me with it. And even the first buck I ever shot, he was really excited for me. Like I was saying, he threw it in the back of the truck. We took it to the place where the local greenery, and it won a big buck contest, even as a small 7-point, really dinky deer. But he was so excited about that, and wanted to spend that time with me. And it was, talking to other people about it. And yeah, that was really, really neat just to have the memories we have. And even as I shared, my dad had a stroke, and right side, he's paralyzed. He can't speak. But even in our hunts, I'll bring in the deer pictures and we'll put them up on the TV or whatever. He's smiling like crazy and looking at it. And he's so excited to share those memories with us and just wanting to be a part of our life and in my life, no matter what it was, to be involved, to guide me through every process of life and to be a better farmer, a better person. He had us, in church all the time. Just modeled that for us, and just I seen his love for the Lord, bringing in kids, whether it would be foster kids or exchange students or whatever. Having a love for people was another thing that he taught me a lot, to be a giving person, to meet the needs of the people around him. And so I've tried to model that even with my son, all of them, be involved, active in their life, whether it's basketball, whether it's sports, whether it's hunting, whatever it may be. Just try to be involved with it, And fortunately, I got a wonderful wife that supports that,
Yeah.
And so she's along with that too, which is a big blessing in my life. But yeah, that's what my dad, he really, really taught me the importance of family, and there's nothing better than being able to share it with your family. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I would have to imagine that because of all those times together and your dad being willing to, do whatever you're doing and be excited about it and just be with you and be present, that because there was that relationship there in such a strong way with such a firm foundation, that if there was times where he had to maybe bring correction or point something out in a loving way, that was just probably well received because of that core relationship that kind of just wrapped around, like, your dad saw you in various aspects and he had insight in your life, and you were willing to probably listen to that. Would that be a fair
Yeah,
assessment?
yeah, I've learned too. One of the neatest things I ever was, I don't know who told me this, but it was a person can be disciplined much if they know they're loved much.
Mm,
And I've always thought about that, even with my kids. If I show them I truly love them, I can discipline them because they know I got their best interests. And my dad has always showed me that he wanted what's best for me. And I wouldn't be who I am today, especially in the farming. He encouraged me to go out and even take risks, even in the farm industry. He says, I'm going to be there with you every step of the way as you grow, and I want to be part of your life. And even when I made some mistakes or didn't do it the exact way maybe he thought it should be done, he supported me. And so that's been huge in my life.
yeah, incredible. And Mitchell, now I'll turn to you because you have a daughter, correct?
Correct.
And what are just some things that you're hoping to instill in your kids that was instilled in you through your dad and through your parents and maybe even grandparents?
It's that same thing, that hard work mentality. I mean, I just can't. You talked about grandpa being there for you, and grandpa was that way for me. He never missed a sporting event for me.
Mm.
I mean, just poured into our lives, really. I mean, anything we had an interest in, he wanted to be a part of it, and you were this way too. Um, and just encouraged us to be our best to the max. And that's what Mason and I talk about, you know, from a young age, whatever Skylar and our other kids decide that they kind of want to go after, we're going to be there to support them 100% of the way.
Mhm. It kind of goes full circle into those two words we mentioned earlier, consistency and persistence, and bringing that into discipleship and mentorship and parenting and just the way that you love your family, can definitely have an impact for generations to come. Cool. Well, we're going to transition. Bruce has a verse that is going to close us out. And so, Old Buck, what do you got for us?
The season we're in right now, this passage from Isaiah has really left an impression on me in general. Kind of become one of those life verses, and a lot of it, what we talked about tonight, just being in the woods and being outside and being together and all that. I think it just kind of plays into it. So this is from Isaiah 41, verse 10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So in a season of trouble and in disease and all kinds of stuff, God never fails. God is with us. And I think like my times in the woods are when I really feel in tune with the Lord. We've talked a lot about, we don't want that to be our church, but we want it to be a time. It's almost like a time of communion in a sense, like where I can just tune out the world and really absorb what the Lord has for me. So that's just a passage that really speaks to my heart.
Yeah, and as you were reading that, one of the things that just stood out to me is, those commands: do not fear, do not be dismayed. Uh, those commands are not rooted in our ability. Because I think of even my times outdoors. I mean, I was born and raised in the city. I don't know what I'm doing out there. Are you kidding me? Um, and so I truly believe any opportunity I've gotten in the outdoors has been 100% a gift from the Lord. But even in adversity and suffering, in our journey, the do not fear, do not be dismayed. That's not rooted in our ability, but it is rooted in who God is.
Amen.
And what God does. It's rooted in his promises. It's rooted in his character, his love, his power, his might. It's rooted in his word. We are reminded in, Joshua 1:9, I will be with you. Psalm 23, you are with me. Matthew 28:20, I am with you always. I mean, these are promises from the Lord. And so we don't have to be some mighty warrior who's brave in our own power and will and strength. It's just recognizing and coming into reality of who God is. And I think that's a good reminder for all of us. Any comments from you guys?
Yeah, I think even you're talking about God and his beauty, and you see the sunrise, the sunsets, the nature, and you think that God holds that in his hands, right?
Mm.
And that same God who's holding that in his hands, his Holy Spirit to the believer dwells in us.
Mm.
And he, like you said, he's with us everywhere we go.
Mm.
And when you look at what he's created, and he still lives with us, and we can commune with him at any time. But it's just amazing. I see when you're out there in the woods, just seeing his glory. And that's why I enjoy it just like you do. It's a special time.
It's the greatest.
For sure.
Yeah. Amen. Well, hey, Mitchell and Rob, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
We appreciate the invite. We had a
It's
blast.
awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, as always, like, share, subscribe. It has been a very blessed fall, very blessed year. Mitchell, Carter, and I got together last night. We were just kind of reminiscing a little bit and just uh, and kind of looking back on this past fall. And it really has been truly incredible. And it's been incredible to see how God has used this platform in various ways. And we do continue to ask and remind you just to keep praying for Sid and Bruce's granddaughter who's in a cancer battle, and just keep praying for her, her family, and be lifting them up. And Sid, we are praying for you and stand with you. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, email forest.sky.hunting@gmail.com. Again, forest.sky.hunting@gmail.com. And we will catch you next time.